I don't know why you guys are so obsessed with this, but it's like a question I always get asked. You guys are so curious. This one was completely my fault. Hi guys, my name's Saffy Sprocket and welcome back to the channel. And today I'm currently situated just a little bit south, about an hour of the Pyrenees Mountains. Now, unfortunately for me, unfortunately for them, this town had a festival last night, which consisted of loud club music going on until 6 AM. And I'm sure they had a blast. However, I am absolutely exhausted and earplugs and noise cancelling headphones could not save me. As a result, I got about 3 hours sleep. This festival went on until about 4 in the morning, and then I fell asleep around 5, and then I got up at 10. So that gives you an indication of how little sleep I've had today. As a result, I don't think I'm gonna go biking today. I decided that today is gonna be a chore day and moving to a new location because they're carrying on with a party tonight and I desperately need to sleep. And I wanna hit the trails. That's what I'm here for, it's what I'm gonna do. So, what I've decided to do basically is, do my general chores as I do. You know how it is. And I thought I'd answer one of the questions for you guys that I get asked a lot at the same time, which is how on earth do I manage this on the road? I have like super long hair. You guys are super curious about it. So I thought, hey, we're at the perfect location for me to show you what I do and how I keep it under control while motorcycle touring. And yeah, but first we need to finish my coffee, and not just for the reasons you think, because we are going to reuse this cup to wash my hair. Caffeine's good for it, don't judge. Now, when I'm on the road, obviously I carry significantly less amount of stuff. At the moment, I have the wonderful luxury of living in a van. However, when you're on a motorcycle, space comes at a premium, so you have to learn to cut back. So ordinarily, what I would usually carry is a bottle of shampoo, a bottle of conditioner. This is the smallest sizes that I can carry with the length of hair that I have. But this will usually last me about a month, funnily enough. I only wash my hair once a week when I'm on the road. It's a little bit more grosser, but you kind of have to learn to adapt because washing your hair takes a lot of time. When you're wild camping, you can't just jump in the shower and have it done with. Now, I don't carry soap because I just double up on the shampoo. And because of that, they both tend to run out at the same time. So yeah, this is the smallest amount I would carry in my bag. Now, on top of that, on the road, I will obviously carry toothpaste and a toothbrush. I will always carry Nurofen, no matter what happens, and I will carry deodorant. And I always also carry a hairbrush, but usually when I'm backpacking, my hairbrush is about this big, and I just kind of cut the handle off, and it's half the size to save on space. I also usually carry salt deodorant as well because it's a little bit better, and it takes up less space in your bag. But this is the kind of what I would take on the road. This would be my hygiene kit. Now, you guys may or may not have noticed, but I carry environmentally friendly products, and the reason being is because the vast majority of the time I like to bathe in the river. Like a crazy hermit woman that I am. The reason being, no, I'm gonna fully explain this, okay? When you are traveling on the road, if you stay in a hotel, that's like 80 euros, 80 quid a night. 10 days of that really adds up. That's like almost £1,000 in hotel costs. If you're staying in a tent and you go to a campsite, again, you're looking at like 20 quid a day. Again, 10 days in, that's £200. And while, yeah, for the vast majority of people, it's not so much of an issue because a lot of the time people have issues with time. It's finding time to go on abroad as opposed to money. So, them splashing out for a really fantastic holiday once a year, I think that's fine. But where I'm like constantly traveling and constantly filming and constantly doing this, these costs really add up. And I had to find a way to cut down. So the vast majority of the time I either wild camp in forests, or I will find countries that allow wild camping anywhere, like Norway is phenomenal for this. But also one of the biggest benefits of now having a van is that all of Europe has something called Delapats, and you can basically find free caravan parking overnight. You can usually stay up to 5 days in a location and you don't have to pay for this. It's completely free. So every area I stop at while I'm on this trip in the van doesn't cost me a single penny. Stellarplats are free, they're all over Europe. We don't really allow caravans to park up in the UK, so this is a concept that's completely blown my mind, but it's just so normal here. There's like 20 caravans around me at the moment, all parked up. We're not paying for it. The downside of doing this is that the Stellarplats don't have amenities. So I don't have access to toilets. I don't have access to showers. I do have access to fresh water and there is water disposal, but that is pretty much the limits. So if you're a caravan that has a shower and a toilet in, you're good to go. I am not that. So that means every time I come across a river or a stream or access to fresh running water, that is where I do my bathing and showering. I'll wash my hair in a river. If someone said, I'll give you $1,000 to wash your hair in a river, would you do it? Yeah, you'd do it. But then when you're like traveling, people are like, oh, I want to stay somewhere with a shower. Okay, but if I handed you £1,000 for you to go and wash in that river, you would do it. You would do it without any question. But people don't think about this in terms of saving money. They're like, oh, I need access to amenities. But if I was to pay you to do it, I have no doubt in my mind. You'd be like, yep, give me the cash, let's go, let's roll. Washing your hair in a river, it's to be as discreet as possible. Oh, it's so cold. So currently the temperature is about 7 degrees because it's quite early still. So I've still got some conditioner at the top of my skull. You do get a bit of a headache from doing this because it's just so cold. So after that I will then just kind of wash my face. I do have a swimsuit as well, because ordinarily it's so windy, my hair is going everywhere. The problem with long hair is that basically if you ordinarily you can just like throw a towel on your head and let your hair hang down and then wrap it up, but my hair is longer than the towel. Okay, so I'm back in the van, and the reason being is that I'm in quite a shaded area. Ordinarily after I wash my hair in a river, I'll sit directly in the sun for about 20 minutes. I have like a really fine type of hair, so it doesn't take long for it to dry off. Like I can sit in the sun for like 20 minutes and it'll be fine. And even though it's really long, it still doesn't take me a very long time. I'm quite fortunate in that respect. Unfortunately, the area that I'm in is surrounded by forests and trees, so it's quite shaded. Behind me it's not too bad, but again that's across a field and I don't really fancy climbing over a fence to sit in some long grass for 20 minutes. But ordinarily I'd just make a cup of coffee, I'd sit in the sun, I'd let the sun do its work, I'd just dry it naturally. However, I don't really have that luxury with the area that I'm sat in. So I'm sitting in the van with a towel on my head to kind of conserve some heat. Now I will show you what we're working with. So we're gonna towel dry my hair. My hair is incredibly thin when it's wet, so this is it. Living in a van, we're going to put some split end serum because girls, I don't know if you guys know, but bike riding is not your friend with split ends. I always see like girls having their hair down on a bike and I'm like, oh my god, she must get regular haircuts. I do not, if you haven't noticed. So we're just going to put some split end. It does make your hair a little bit greasy, but you have to compromise. I'm living a lifestyle that requires a lot of like extreme sports. And with extreme sports come hair dyes, so you can't have it all. or the best piece of advice I've ever been given in life is that you can have everything, but not at the same time. You can have everything in life, just not at the same time. So you can have nice hair, and you can have a cool, adventurous lifestyle, but you're probably not going to have those things at the same time. Right. Okay, so this is my hair after washing it in a river. It's now all dry. It's very fluffy again, very lightweight, and it's in a very silky condition, but that is not enough for riding a motorcycle, because when it comes to riding a bike, there is a lot of wind which blows it around, and wind snaps your hair, so you don't want to ride a motorbike with your hair down. Protective hairstyling is really important. Now, if you don't know what a protective hairstyle is, it's basically a way that you style your hair that prevents damage. That's all it means. So the most common protective hairstyling is braids, buns, chopsticks, but when it comes to a motorbike, you kind of have to do things a little bit differently. You see, when you braid your hair and you're on a motorbike, the wind still forces a lot of this braid to come undone, especially when you have silky hair. And the end result is that you end up with a braided bird's nest at the end of the day, which isn't great. The best kind of protective hairstyling when it comes to a motorbike is one that never sees the wind. So you need to make sure that your hair on the motorbike is completely tucked away. So that means like balaclavas, that means tucking it in your jacket, and that means protective hairstyling where it's not going to flap around. The worst thing you can do for your hair if you're a biker is let it free flow. I see so many women doing this out on the road, and you know, you can do what you want. If you want to do that, that's fine, but you will have to chop a significant amount of your hair off after some time. It's going to cause a lot of strain if you think about your hair constantly doing this all the time. If you think about the pressure that's creating on your head. Now, the other thing you need to remember as well is braids are fantastic, especially if you combine them with a balaclava and then tuck your hair in. So again, the balaclava's bridging the gap between your helmet and your jacket. However, you need to be really careful with braids on your scalp with your helmet, because that is going to create some pressure headaches. So I see a lot of people who will start their braids on their scalp and like really pull it back, and I give it like 2-3 hours before they have a migraine. And if you're someone who's been riding around with braids and get headaches, that might be why. Now, my favorite technique with riding a bike is a little secret. This is my go-to. So again, I like to go for a hair bun. I'm going to turn to the side so you guys can see. And I just pull that really tight. And try to get it as close to my scalp, but I try to get it in such a way so that it's underneath my helmet, like this. I'll always use like a chunky hair tie as well, because it means that when you have like a small bobble, it causes your hair to do this in the wind, which isn't great. And again, you have that motion which is going to slowly snap and break your hair off. Now, the other solution I liked to do when I'm out on the bike, and this is my sneaky solution, is I take a rolled up sock and I roll it up so it's got like quite a big base, and then I just pop it over my head like this. And basically this extra surface area stops that blowing around. Your hair doesn't come into contact with the wind. And I know it looks really strange, but it seems to work quite a lot. So it doesn't get in the way of my helmet, it sits just below my helmet. Or if it doesn't, I will then redo it to sit below my helmet. But basically my hair is completely tied away. It won't hit any wind. There won't be any breakage. And basically this is the ultimate protective hairstyle on the road. Yeah, so there we have it, guys. That is how I managed to have really long hair on the road. I know a lot of women go down the route of cutting their hair off and going for shorter hair. I don't really want to do that. My hair feels very much a part of my identity. I like having long hair. It makes me feel good about myself. So I've had to kind of adapt to a system that works for me. And this works for me. Having my sock hair in a bun works a lot. I know it looks really stupid, but it lets me protect my hair. So when I do want my long hair, it is there. And it's just about finding a system that works for you. I know that this is probably going to be a system that works the best for people with really fine long hair. I don't know how well it's going to work for people who have like really thick hair. I feel like you'd need like a t-shirt to hold the bun rather than a sock, but this is what I do.
This one was completely my fault.